Snow had begun to fall in soft, floating sheets the moment Alara Hart reached the highest bend of the mountain pass, her horse snorting clouds of white into the rising cold as she urged him forward, heart pounding with determination because the town on the other side, the promise of work, warmth, and the fresh start she had planned for months, waited beyond those ridges, but fate had a cruel way of rearranging paths, and as the wind sharpened and the snowfall thickened into a heavy curtain, she saw it, a massive wall of fresh rock and ice that had collapsed across the narrow trail, sealing it off completely, and her breath broke with frustration because she had ridden for days through biting winds, sleeping under threadbare blankets, pushing herself to make it through before winter locked the pass for good. But the mountain had claimed it first, leaving her stranded at the mercy of the storm, and as the cold deepened into something vicious, something that gnawed at her fingertips and seeped through her clothes, she realized she had only minutes to decide whether to turn back or freeze trying to dig through what no one could cross. Yet the thought of retracing miles through the storm made her chest tighten in fear, until suddenly, through the whirling snow, she spotted a flicker of light, warm, steady, and impossibly out of place, dancing from the direction of the forest below, and she blinked, unsure if she imagined it, but then a voice, deep and steady as thunder on distant plains, cut through the wind as a horse approached, its rider tall, wrapped in a weather-worn duster, hat pulled low against the storm, the stranger calling out, "You shouldn't be up here alone, miss, the pass is gone for the whole winter," and when he finally reached her, she saw the carved sharpness of his jaw, the sun-worn strength in his features, the gentleness in his eyes even in this brutal cold, and he introduced himself with a tilt of his hat. "Name's Colt Marrow. Cabin's down that way, and you'll freeze before you make it back to town. Come with me." And though Alara had never been one to trust strangers easily, something in his steady tone, something in the calm power behind his words, made her nod, and the two rode through the thickening storm as icy branches scraped overhead and the wind howled like wolves hunting in the dark, until at last a small cabin emerged between the pines, its windows glowing gold, smoke curling from the chimney like a promise of life itself, and Colt helped her down from her horse, his hands warm despite the cold, guiding her to the door as he said softly, "Storm's gonna trap this whole valley soon. We're likely stuck here together till spring," and she felt a shiver that had nothing to do with the weather, because something about the way he said it, steady, protective, almost tender, wrapped around her heart like a blanket, and when he opened the door, heat washed over her, the scent of burning pine filling her lungs as she stepped inside, shedding her fear with every inch of warmth, and Colt hung her coat by the fire, offering her a cup of steaming tea, watching her with a quiet respect, not prying, not pushing, simply giving her space to breathe after the shock of the pass closing, and over the next hours as the storm raged outside, rattling the shutters and burying the world in white, Alara learned bit by bit about the man who had saved her. How he lived up in these mountains to avoid the noise of old griefs, how he spent his days chopping wood, tending horses, selling pelts to the town below, and how he, too, had once been on his way somewhere else before life forced him onto a different road, and she found herself speaking too, her voice trembling but honest as she shared the fragments of dreams she had chased here, the job waiting in the valley, the hope of proving herself strong after a lifetime of being told she was too fragile, too uncertain, too small for the world. And Colt listened with the kind of attention that made her feel seen in a way she never had before, his quiet nods and occasional warm smile a balm she hadn't known she needed, and the days that followed blended into a rhythm neither of them expected, the storm never letting up, snow piling against the door until the cabin felt like a tiny island drifting in a sea of white, and each morning Colt split wood outside while she prepared breakfast, and each afternoon they worked together to keep the horses warm, to stack supplies, to clear small passages, their hands brushing more often than either admitted, sparks rising between them like embers escaping the hearth, and at night they sat by the fire, talking in low voices about the world beyond the mountains, about lost hopes and second chances, until one night, as the wind wailed through the pines, Alara's fear slipped out, "What if I never make it to that town? What if everything I worked for slips away?" And Colt leaned closer, the firelight catching the quiet strength in his eyes as he told her, "Sometimes the path you planned ain't the one meant for you, and sometimes getting stuck is how you find what you were trying to reach," and she felt her chest tighten at the depth in his voice, the warmth in his gaze, and something cracked open inside her, something soft and new, and as the weeks passed, winter wrapping them in its relentless grip, their connection grew too powerful to hide. He laughed more freely when she teased him about his rough manners, she blushed when he complimented her bravery, and each time he guided her hands while teaching her to whittle wood or mend tack, she felt the steady heat of him like a promise she dared not name, until the night a blizzard roared with a fury that shook the walls and Colt found her staring anxiously at the window, and without hesitation he wrapped his coat over her shoulders and said, "You're safe here. With me, you'll always be safe," and in that moment, something shifted permanently, her fear replaced by trust, her loneliness softened by the gentle certainty in his touch, and the winter became not a trap but a slow-burning miracle, a season where two hearts thawed together, learned each other, found strength in each other, until by the time the first bird sang in early spring and the snow began to melt from the mountain pass, she realized the life she thought she was riding toward was nothing compared to the one she had found, and when the trail finally opened, Colt saddled her horse quietly, offering her the choice to leave, the choice to chase the dream she had come for, but her heart pulled her another way, and she stepped closer, laying her hand over his as she whispered, "I think I found what I was looking for, right here," and the smile that broke across his face, slow, warm, filled with relief and wonder, was brighter than any sunrise over the mountains, and as he drew her close, snow melting around them and spring breathing life back into the valley, she knew without doubt that the storm that trapped her had never been a curse. It had been a doorway to love, to strength, to a future she never dared imagine, and for anyone hearing this story now, if you felt even a spark of warmth from their journey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because there are countless stories like this waiting to touch your heart, stories of courage, hope, and the love that finds us when we least expect it.